I've been at an MS event where somebody that looked like me, that is lucky enough to have full mobility, got up from the table, and I overheard someone in a wheelchair say, wow, look at all the young, beautiful people, right? Massive frustration, and a feeling that they're not being taken care of. So give us a little update about progressive MS and the world there.
About 5 years ago now, I think we also were like, we've made a lot of progress in treating relapsing remitting MS, a lot of research focus on that. But really the choices for people with progressive MS, I heard about it every single time a new drug was approved. It's like, great, another treatment for relapsing remitting MS. Great for them.
What about us?
What about me? What about us? And so we've really started to really focus on that. So part of it was to focus on the gaps and saying, okay, there's not enough research, there's not enough drug development happening around this. So what do we need to do to make that happen? We brought together my colleagues from the MS societies of the world and just basically said, how do we start to tackle this? And rather than the US and Italy and others all doing it individually, let's get our efforts together. So we brought the world together to create the International Progressive MS Alliance. So the scientists are starting to ask the question, is there something different about the brain in progressive MS versus relapsing MS? Are the nerve cells being damaged differently in primary progressive MS versus secondary? And we're asking the question of what's going on in the brain, is the pathology of the brain. So that's helpful from understanding the biology of the disease, but then you have to take that knowledge and use it for something. And so parts of the work of the Progressive MS Alliance is to say, are there treatments out there that can be repurposed for treating progressive MS? And so one of the studies that we're really interested in is one where a cholesterol-lowering drug called simvastatin, known as, I think, Zocor by the trade name, showed in its phase 2 clinical trial that it actually benefited people who had progressive MS. And so now we're trying to see, how do we get a phase 3 trial of that? There was also, when I was at this MS meeting last week called ECTRIMS, which there's lots of stuff on our website around it today, there was a drug called ocrelizumab, which is a new drug that was being developed by a company called Genentech. They were testing the drug in relapsing remitting MS. Good results, so that really, really strong results. But the company also decided at the same time to do a clinical trial in primary progressive MS. And basically what they found was that in primary progressive MS, the drug was significant, had significant effect on the outcomes that people experienced. It was about 25% improvement of people who received the drug versus those who didn't receive the drug.
Which compared to goose egg?
Yeah, is awesome. So and it's modest. Now, a couple important things to keep in mind. When they designed the trial, they specifically went for younger individuals, people under the age of 50, who had primary progressive MS. And the reason they did that is that they had done a phase 2 clinical trial, and what they found is that people who were younger in the disease had more of an effect with this treatment. So it's just an important nuance to keep in mind. And, goose egg to 25% is still good, but, 25% isn't the 40, 50, 60% we see with the other drugs, but it's a step in the right direction. And we know the company is planning on going to the FDA and the EMA for approval.